Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. Let's talk radio. Welcome. I'm Kelly Brickle, and here we talk about all things energy, all things psychic, mediumship, healing, and even paranormal. And that's going to be the field of speciality with our guest today, Todd Bates. We're going to be going into his life and also with his book. Shout out to Todd, The Haunted Voice. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk to him because he definitely is in a different vein when it comes to how his life has been affected with energy and how he connects to spirit. So it's always nice to have the variety. Hi, Stephanie. It's great to see you. Good afternoon, too. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming. And so today's topic I want to dive into is about like filtering energy. And we all do it, you know. The beauty of a reading is when we step back. The beauty of life really is when we step back and we let spirit trust and guide us. And it's very normal to filter or edit. The word usually is to put our perceptions into play when we're getting things. You know, you might get a message for yourself and you're like, well, is that right? I need a sign. I need 3 signs before I listen, right? Spirit, show me a sign. Or, you know, you have a hunch on somebody. And we all have our gut hunches. Absolutely. We have a hunch like, I don't know if I can trust that person, or does that person really want to do the thing that they said they want to do? Or is that really what they meant when they said it, right? And a lot of these hunches, if we're in a clear and healthy place within our life, they're probably correct, honestly. I mean, we all have our track records, but we have to learn how to trust ourselves or get into a mechanism of, you know, being within truth, being closer to the truth, because that's really what the path is about. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Jessica. Hello. Thank you for your beautiful energy. And we want to filter things because when things come in, they don't feel like something we would think about necessarily. I think that's the biggest thing to talk about. But you kind of have to embrace that, because I know when I get something and I go, why would I ever think that? That's strange. That's when it's usually right. That's when it's usually an indicator of like, yeah, you wouldn't think it, because it's not you thinking that. It's not you feeling that. It's not you experiencing that. Or that's spirit. That's not you at all. Exactly. 100%. That's your hit. And there's just so many stories where I've learned to trust myself within this work and within my life, because I go, wow, like, yeah, I'm clearly not thinking that. So the other person is thinking that. And honestly, once you get some type of confidence and familiarity with your own energy and how you are an empath, or how you uptake information in other ways, it's kind of fun actually, because you're like, whoa, okay. All right, I just got a hit on that person where I think I know what's up. I think I know what's up. And so something so serious and so daunting can actually become quite fluid and fun and, you know, helpful. And usually, you know, what we intend within life are just like, you know, helpful things like, hey, spirit, look out for me. Like, help me understand this person. You know, just help me help a situation. And so things will be like fun or guidance based, or protection based, right? Like you would want to know if you feel something off within a person. But I want to go back to like the words like filtering and normalcy, because a lot of times within this work, when I talk to people and students, you know, they're like, I'm not sure. I do get things, but I'm not sure. And it's just like, why have we made it such a thing for information to come out with a sense of normalcy? Why have we made it such a thing within our society to have a certain standard of normalcy? Because honestly, when you are in energy, there's no rules. I mean, yeah, of course, I get it. Like society has to function, but I'm talking about when to understand each other and to validate each other's identity and preferences and, wants and desires and understandings and aspirations, right? There's no one way to do it. There's no sense of normalcy with that when you're tapping into someone's spirit with who they are beyond the physical. I mean, there's no one size fits all. There just really isn't. And so if you're getting something unusual about a person's life or feeling something unusual, that's just probably them. That's just probably them. Like within a reading or within a conversation, some of the best things come from, this is going to sound funny. Oh, I'm not sure about this, but like, I'm not sure if you can relate to that. And whether it's like a direct hit right on the money, or there's a truth in there to some degree, that's where usually the good stuff is. So I really do think that there is a lot to be said for don't be afraid to come off polished. Don't be afraid to come off in a way where you have to just overthink what you say. And going back to like children, right? Like children just say whatever is on their mind because they have no filter. But children are intuitive for that reason, because they just say a bunch of words and you're just like, oh, wait, there was, uh-oh, like little Jimmy or Timmy knows that. How do they know that? Right? Because they just take it on without edit. And we get to have, yes, the free will to actually navigate editing if we need to, but to be in that, openness where you're just allowing things to come in and just allowing the energy to come through you so naturally. That's where it is. It's funny because whether it's in a reading like with myself or if I'm receiving a reading, right? People will say, well, it's something like this and it's something like that, and I'm not sure about this. Or they might like say a bunch of words together, but they don't realize that the way that they just are saying it, it's like, oh yeah, the way you said it, like it just works. It just works. They're like, not a lot about this, maybe some of that. I don't know. And it's just like, actually, yeah, like your I don't know is on the money because you're not overthinking it. And I can take what you're saying rather than, I really feel like you're this kind of person and you do that. And, you've always been this way. The absolutes, they'll get you tripped up. The absolutes and perfection will get you tripped up for sure. And I feel like I have some of my most authentic conversations and spiritual progress when I'm not afraid to push the envelope on just being authentic with the awkwardness and the weirdness. In fact, that comes, I share that with like clients often. I'm like, hey, this sounds awkward and that's okay, because I'm aware of the nervousness behind this energy. I'm aware of the uncertainty around this energy, right? And to take whatever we're feeling and just honor it. And usually it gives us and takes us to a place of deeper authenticity and deeper connection with the person even before us, because they appreciate the candor in some way. In some way, we do it still with, empathy and grace, because sometimes the candor can be very like raw, right? They're just like, how do you know that? Or, I don't usually talk about that. Right? So you really keep your feelers out, but you really honor the authenticity, because there's a reason why it came forth in that moment. And so I want to honor that at the end of the day. Hello, Courtney. Hello, Joe. Hello. And we had a wonderful turnout. Shout out to Todd. Courtney is giving a shout out to Todd. And I'm glad that you're getting ready. Hey, good luck with that race tomorrow. Whatever it is, good luck. with that said, I want to just say whatever you've been filtering within your life, take a step out, whatever that you've been holding on to extra, release. And I think that's what's so powerful when someone writes a book like Todd. And I really want to go into talking with him with it. Like, you have to release an enormous amount of energy to share your life, share your pitfalls, share your triumphs, and be so vulnerable like that. And really, a lot of intuition does come when you have that spurt of just sharing and vulnerability. So, with that said, hopefully, whether you're writing a book or you're sharing yourself in a more authentic place, be inspired, and spirit will meet you with so much authenticity and perception and clarity right back. So I hope that inspires. See you in a few, and we will bring Todd on in a moment. Be right back. And we're back just like that. Hello. So we're going to bring in Todd. Hey. Whoop, you're muted. You're doing what I normally do. There you go.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kelly.
Absolutely. You're already in the like energy. I've had a habit of doing that myself. So you must
I'm
be
always
highly
muted in the background.
empathetic, Todd. You must be you're an empath.
Some say.
Has the book evolved you that much? Have you spiritually ascended?
Yes, I've spiritually ascended, Kelly. I'm on my way.
It's great to be talking to you and to hear more about your life. I want to share other people with you for a moment and introduce you, Todd. And so with that said, Todd Bates is the founder of WLTK-DB, host of Haunted Voices and the producer show, narrator of the show Ghost Finders, and author of The Haunted Voice. He is passionate about all things EVP and paranormal with over 20 years in the field. Collecting specialized evidence of paranormal origin and sharing it with his amazing audiences is a life's calling. After years of personally investigating the mysteries of EVP and studying under pioneering figures in the field, such as Sarah Estep and Jason Snider, he decided to share his passion. Now in its 18th year, Haunted Voices has quickly grown to be one of the oldest paranormal talk shows on the internet today. Todd now owns and operates WLTK-DB, a paranormal talk radio station, and has recently wrote an autographical book about his life that we'll be talking about today, The Haunted Voice, on his journey with the paranormal, his battle with alcoholism, and more. So welcome, Todd.
Wow. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. That was, wow. I need to shorten things up a little bit there. It's been a little,
well, come on.
Been a little busy.
It's your life. Why would you?
My life.
Don't shorten your life. Don't shorten your life.
I guess you don't. I guess you really don't realize it until you hear things, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's true. When someone just like recounts you, and you've done so much, and you really have done so much. For people who are learning about Todd and what he does for the station and how he's created it, like he's constantly working on things to make the station better. He's juggling multiple projects and products and he's just like, he's always learning and creating to make things better. And so if I know you like this now, I can imagine all your life you've always been tinkering, creating, discovering.
It's been I didn't used to be like this, Kelly. I wasn't this happy-go-lucky guy. I mean, I'm a shy introvert, to be honest with you. I really don't get out much and things like that. I used to. But my personality's changed. I used to be so stiff and just ornery and just mean sometimes. And, I had all these things happen to me throughout my life. And then I had an experience where I spent some time behind bars myself. I worked corrections, and then, I've been on both sides of the bars, and that kind of broke me a little bit. Well, not a lot of bit. A person can only take so much in their life. And I reached my point where I just kind of just checked out, rocking back and forth, all kinds of fun stuff. So my personality has kind of evolved, because when that occurred, after all the healing from counseling and so forth, and reintroducing me to society, it was a rough ride. But that kind of is what changed, because it broke me down. It completely tore me apart. I was completely torn apart and rebooted. And it was like a light switch. My personality just changed, and it's been that way ever since. Thank God. It's
Yeah.
changed for the good, to where, I feel emotions. I feel pain. I feel, bad when I see something. And I just can't believe what I used to be, and then what I am now. I mean, if I could
So,
take that person and just kind of slap him around a little bit.
oh, now you're doing the best you can, but if I
Yeah.
may ask, with that numbness that you had, did you have a curiosity, or was that numbness so thick that you didn't really even have much of a curiosity as well within your life?
No, as far as anything spiritual or supernatural, I really didn't have the curiosity for it. Now, I watched some, I love Star Wars. I love space. I love, I've always believed that there's life on other planets, always, since I can remember. But ghosts and things, no. Ghosts and Bigfoot. And I mean, are you kidding me? I used to laugh, and yet there was a part of me that had a little fear in there too, because it was
Yeah.
unknown.
Yeah.
And they made it so, it was so taboo back then that, you couldn't, that's not something you sat down and talked to your parents about. I was raised Catholic, and you mentioned that. Oh boy, you're in the car, you're going to confession, you're done, son. That kind of thing. So growing up, I didn't have any interest in the paranormal whatsoever. A ghost tour is what sparked me to even get into all this. They talked me into going to a ghost tour, and I captured my first EVP, which is a disembodied voice. Electronic voice phenomenon is what that stands for. And I captured my first EVP, and it just completely enthralled me, because I didn't hear it, but it recorded. Strange. And it just snowballed from that moment. I started researching. I started finding all these different people. I found Sarah. I found Jason. Those two are my mentors. They're just amazing people. Or were. Sarah's passed, but they're amazing people. And they held my hand. They guided me. They taught me the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. And I was like a sponge, because this was something new. This was something, because I'd been in such a dark place in my life. This was something finally where I had some friendship, some interaction, human interaction.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was just how it evolved was pretty incredible. And it was one day, and there I am. I'm a paranormal investigator doing this stuff myself.
So who convinced you to even go? Because you're like, I have no idea, I don't know what this is. And then someone convinced you, right? They're like, let's do this. Who convinced you?
At the time I was married, it was my ex-mother-in-law that convinced
Okay.
me to go, because I didn't want anything to do with it, and they did.
Okay.
So they were curious. So that kind of piqued my curiosity. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll just try it. But it was one of those events where it's packed with people. There's so many on the tour. It's just packed, and you really can't. At the time, I didn't know what evidence was, or collecting it, or I'm just walking around with a recorder, sit down in a barn, capture an EVP of a horse. It's just
Whoa.
crazy, crazy stuff. that I've captured over the years. It's pretty incredible what's out there. And it's not as taboo as what it used to be either. So that helped as well. The things evolved, and I learned more to where I wanted to teach other people. The community was really good, and it community still is good. It's kind of separating into even more little chambers now, but the community really used to work together. The paranormal community. Psychics would work with paranormal investigators and back and forth, but it's changing. It evolved, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. I try to stay out of the paradrama myself.
Paradrama.
There's a
I,
lot of
I
it.
I think when there's not much known about, let's say, a field, it does have a chance to really have like pioneers in it, or really have people that were called to it, because nothing was flashy about it. In fact, it's the opposite. Like, oh, it's like omnious, and people might be repelled from it. So it's like the people that are there, sometimes they're really supposed to be there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a soul's calling rather than a pure like, oh, let's just kind of like, this seems cool.
Very much so. It kind of caught on. The taboo wore off. Television helped. You have all these other mediums that are getting the information out there now. Back then, it wasn't like that. It wasn't it was too. There was just too many chiefs and not enough Indians. I guess that's the best. I mean, I know that's whatever to say, but that's how I can sum it up. Just too
It's a
many.
saying.
There were just too many. And now, what I like about it is that everybody is connecting. They are connecting with each other. But what I don't like seeing are subgroups of different things like EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, and ITC, instrumental trance communication, used to work somewhat together. Now they're completely separate entities. There's mixing and matching of all kinds of things. I took a 3-year break from it and came back, and it's completely night and day. So I can't keep up with it anymore. So
Wow.
I had to back away from it all, because my thing was I wanted to find that ultimate answer before I was supposed to. I don't think we're supposed to know. But that was my obsession, was going and going and going, and I couldn't find that answer. And you can't just turn your mind off to something like that. That's why I turned to alcohol. That numbed my mind. That put me in a place to where I could sleep. I could finally calm down. Then, of course, you begin abusing the hell out of it, because now that you have something that is an escape, okay, now you can do more paranormal research. So you go back and forth and back and forth, and one's going to consume the other. So one had to go. So I had to retire from the field a few years back to maintain my sobriety. That was my choice, because if I would have stayed in the field, I wouldn't be here today. It was
Yeah.
that bad. I had to have there were several treatment centers I went to get help. You've got to get the help.
Yes.
It's and you'll know when it's needed, but you've got to get the help. And every person has their rock bottom. Some deal with it differently. I dealt with mine by calling for help. It's just something inside of me told me to call for help, get help. You can't do this yourself. Don't try. Don't quit. Get treated. Don't put a Band-Aid on it. Let's look at the wound. So that's what happened. And again, ripped from the floor down, personality changed. My personality's changed probably, oh goodness, until I found me 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Going through that is tough,
It's
because
Oh, go ahead, please. Yes,
No,
please.
you going through that
Tough.
stuff, trying to find yourself. Everybody is trying to find themselves, trying to find their place in this world, and that's what I was trying to do at that time. Excuse me. And it was just one thing after another, one punch after another. But you've got to take those punches and just keep walking forward. And I had to keep telling myself that. I had to discipline myself to cut those things that didn't serve me. That was the hardest decision that I've ever had to make, because once you do that, Kelly, you know that normally it's permanent. It's, and I had to do that a lot. I had to do that quite, and I still use that to this day. It's the only thing that keeps me from reaching for that bottle, see, because it's always going to have that grasp on you. Once you um, become someone in that state that I was, that kind of drinking state, it will get a hold on you, and you'll think you'll have it whipped. You don't. You need help constantly, daily. There's things I do daily by the minute, sometimes, but it's what I have to do to maintain the straight and narrow moving forward. So that's why the personality changes and things, is because I had lost myself so long ago that I had to be rebooted. I feel, spirit led me to all this. I believe everything happens for a specific reason. And I feel I was called to this field because I didn't want anything to do with it. And then one day, boom. It's amazing how life works. It
It
really is.
is. I don't think we're made to stay the same, So the fact that you've had so many like evolutions within who you are as Todd, I think that's a testament to how productive and helpful and meaningful your life has been. So that's like, I think that's like a badge, honestly. Like, I've transcended this, I've transcended that. And I do think, just from hearing the way you describe it too, you said that you had such a passion for EVP and paranormal investigations, and you knew that it was almost like relentless. You had to have some grounding within your own life. And I do think, like, within paranormal and spiritual work, it's all about, finding ourselves. We might be going out at an investigation to find what's outside of ourself, with the meaning of life, like what's this evidence and that evidence, and how does it all come together, and what does it all mean? But I think there's enormous peace within that journey when you have the peace within yourself. So it seems like you went the right direction, because you went within. You're like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Something, like I said, something led me, something shook me on a soul level, on a core level. And that's when I just realized everything. The trees, they were brighter, the colors were more vivid. So many things changed and continue to change the longer I maintain that lifestyle. And it's tough. It's tough because there's a lot of stresses. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of triggers, they call them. But I'm safe. I feel safe. I've got a great relationship with my Sherry. She's my rock. There's so many people in my life that are supportive, and that have been through all of this with me, and the ones that I've hurt, the relationships that I've severed that'll never be connected, again. And those are losses that a person just takes. Some people continuously carried around with them as baggage and so forth, from maybe relationship to relationship. I choose to disconnect from it, cut. I have to. And I love to keep busy. That's why I love this field, because there's always something to do. There's always, my goodness, there's always something to do. Working into this station, Kelly, that's one of the main reasons that this came forth. Was I Sherry and I talked one day, and so, yeah, let's try it. Let's try this. Again, this is my second one that I've had. The first one, it was good. I sold the thing. It was good, but it didn't have the content that I was interested in. It was very dry to me. And I feel more connected with this station because it has that content, and I learned so much from you host. Oh my goodness, I learned a lot. I've got a front row seat to the whole thing. But to get back to it, the personalities and so forth, they have shuffled. But finally, I found myself, I've landed. I'm a little scatterbrained these days. Sometimes I have incomplete thoughts. Sometimes I start something and don't finish it. Sometimes, there's always different things. But I've changed for the good, I feel, because I feel good about how I've changed. So it's an ongoing battle. I love it. I love the challenge.
Well, you help so many people get their stories out, like with their voice and their expression, and you've really built a community. And so it's amazing too that you can further lead that community by sharing your own story so prominently.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't hold anything back. To me, life is too short. Everybody has problems. I just choose to identify mine and let them out because there's more room outside than in me. And if I don't get these things off my chest, these burdens, these issues, because I've had people contact me that have read my book and they have had similar issues. And to this day, we still email and we help each other. It's people are identifying with it, and that's fantastic.
You're getting
George. Thank you, George.
I don't know if you know, but he's complimenting your voice. He's like, you got a great radio voice.
Thank you, George.
He's sending support.
That's a big compliment. But yeah, the personalities, that's how they all connected. And I love who I am today. Those of you that have read the book or are going to read the book, just understand that there is a happy ending. I know some of those going through there, it does get a little dark.
I mean, you look chipper, you're the walking, manifestation. So you look chipper. So I believe that there's a happy ending. Someone's saying your voice is smooth like butter.
Like butter. Thank you.
Like butter.
Oh, it's a labor of love. But I hope it helps a lot of people, and it's connected with people. And I didn't understand or see that coming. I didn't expect anything like this. I wanted to get my feelings out is all I wanted to do. Put them on paper to make them real, because that makes them real to me.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate amendment is to share it with another human being. So I didn't just share it with another human being. I shared it with everyone. All of my secrets, vulnerabilities, everything are in there. I mean, I don't hide anything, because if I tried to hide something, and when I was writing it, I'm saying, okay, if I put this down, they're going to think I'm crazy. And then I'm thinking, but Todd, you are. Okay.
So that's an honest feeling.
It's an honest feeling. I mean, I'm diagnosed with a mental illness, so technically, I am. So I'm thinking, okay, if I put this out there, they're going to know. What am I going to do? Then if I see them in person, I won't be able to look them in the eye. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute.
It's real consideration.
Mm-hmm. This is just me. I am who I am. And if someone judges me because of something I did, well, that's on them. If they read it and get some kind of help or closure or something from it, some kind of guidance, fantastic. But I wrote it to heal. I wrote it to heal mainly, and heal and to help. I had to heal myself. I had to get all this stuff out, and that was my way of doing it. And I loved it. I had some help with editing. I'm no writer. You know, I'm just a guy that spits up stuff on paper, and had a great editor that helped piece it together. And we put it into chapters, and then bam, there it was. And to take that little book, which is a quick read. This thing, it's not that thick, folks. This is a quick read.
Shout out.
This is a quick read. It's a couple hundred pages, if that.
You made it like very accessible, like that, where like the pages are just really palatable. Yes.
Thank you. I wanted to make it easy. I wanted to make it you just flow through the pages just real quick. There's people, I had one that just bought a copy. She read it in an hour and a half. Sherry read it in an hour and a half or 2 hours too, I think. She read it pretty quick. But it's a good quick read, and it's got a lot of information in it, but it's got a lot of hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You gotta fight and not give up. And so many times I wanted to give up, Kelly. It was unbelievable. I was just so defeated, and something just literally grabbed me by the straps of my pants. Get up, do something, make something happen. It's not going to happen for you. You've got to make it happen. Plain and simple.
When you had like these like battles and insights while you were writing, and also like within your life, I'm going to focus on the book for a second. Like, how long was the battle of, okay, I'm sharing my life story. Should I not put this? Should I put this in? You know, how long did that take to rectify?
Well, for one thing, no one knew I was writing a book. No one had a clue. My kids didn't know. My Sherry didn't know. No one knew. So it took, oh my goodness, to put that in a time frame, because there's parts of it that are still that still worry me today that I have to constantly address. But the time it put in there, there's a lot that goes into self-publishing. There's a lot that goes into putting that in there. I would say about two months I struggled with that, back and forth.
Did you take stuff out? Did you put stuff in? How did that?
Yes. In the dark times area, there were some things because some of those in there are journal entries. And some of those I didn't want to put in. And I did. I took them out. And they were out for a while. And then I put it back in. And then I had some more content that was out. And to make a hardback, we needed some more pages. Funny how that worked out. What I had left was 3 pages over what we needed. Just strange. Strange how things like that kind of come about in the process. And the process itself woke me up. In the time frame, you know, you take one of these and put it together, you get them submitted, you've got to wait, you know, it's stressful. It just is. But then you know, when it's released and someone, you know, purchases it, you're like, there it is, there where it went. I can't take that back. It's out there. You know, it's gone. They're not going to read the book and send it back. they're going to read the book and keep it. So my life story is floating around out there. All of my inner secrets are floating around out there. And I had to be okay with that. And there's times I still struggle with it, but I really struggled with that for a couple months, to answer your question. Yeah.
I mean, that, you know, that I would was that the biggest obstacle, or was like were there other things that's harder? Because I think like when people are writing books, or they're, you know, they're putting themselves like even a radio show there, you have to show and share your life, right?
Hmm.
Like, what was that biggest obstacle with writing that book? Was it that, or was it something else?
The biggest obstacle was facing it all, because these are things that I had locked up way deep in my mind, and I had to resurface this stuff, and it was not easy. Now, when it got easy is when I was typing it out, and when I was outlining it, that was very difficult. But when I started typing, it all just, it came out in that order, the way it should, as it should, and quickly. So it did. It kind of escalated because it was released October of last year. So it took about a year.
It's a lot that you did in actually a very short time.
Yeah, yeah, a lot went on. There was a lot because we wanted to push it to release at Halloween, and it was released on Halloween, so there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure to get to that date because everything had to be submitted on time. Then you had to have the cover image completed. Then, okay, that doesn't fit. Now you've got to find another one. So, self-publishing, it's tough. You got to do all that yourself. But the publisher, they pick you up. It's a little, you're lucky. But I didn't want a big publisher with this. I don't want fame and fortune with this book. I want it to help people like it helped me writing it. Sure, it's selling great. It's doing great. It's doing its thing. I love giving away copies because it's something inside of me just tells me when to do that, when not to do that. And I feel it necessary to give as many as I can, give as many as I can afford, because it hopefully will connect with that person, and then they'll take that book and give it to their friend, and it will help them. If they have mental illness or if they have alcoholism in their family, hopefully the book will help them. So I want it to be contagious like that. I don't care if it's all ripped up and you're sharing the copy with your whole family. Send me an email. I'll send you a new copy. but it share it and live it with me like I did. That's what I like. I like connecting every one of those people that buy the book are a friend of mine because they know all about me. So they deserve to be friends. And I expect friendship requests from them, the whole 9 yards, because that's a connection that we made.
Well, speaking of some of that, Tim says, I'm a little late to today's party. That's okay, Tim. Finished reading Haunted Voices the other day. I'm so happy you shared your story. With that too, what is one of your favorite chapters that you wrote?
Oh, the one about Sherry and I, my favorite chapter.
Understandable.
Yes, that was.
That's a given.
Yeah. Because, I wrote that with a smile and tears at the same time, because that she literally saved me from a lot of things. Because, we all have slips, right? We all have moments. We all have problems. Like I said, issues. I had a slip in 2019. This will be in the next book.
Nice.
These slips happen to alcoholics. I had given myself a little bit too much freedom. I gave myself too much freedom. And to tell you how this works, let me share this story real quick. How quickly alcoholism and the mindset of the person. I'm a vapor. I quit smoking. I do the vaping thing. And I went into locally here, there is a liquor store that sells them cheaper than most gas stations. So normally I would avoid an area like that, but I had to get a certain product thinking it would be okay. I didn't even think, to be honest with you. I drove there, walked in there, picked up got the vape liquid, went to the counter, picked up vodka, like
Oh,
nothing.
wow. Wow.
Impulse.
It was just like almost subconscious, like, hey, I guess
Mhm.
I want that. And yeah,
My
wow.
alcoholic mind took over, and it found a weakness in me, that a place that I had missed with all of my, experience in the alcohol world. I'd missed something, so it found that weakness. I grabbed them both, and the rest is history.
Do
You
you
know,
remember just staring at it once you had it?
no, I remember what I remember doing, and this is what told me I was going down the wrong hole. I took it back here at home and hid it. Mm-mm, you don't do that. I should have told Sherry immediately what had happened, but then you have that guilt, and people carry guilt. I don't carry guilt anymore. I try to release it, but you have that guilt. And I felt that guilt again because I hid something from someone that I cared for very much. And the rest is history. I have to balance that karma. I have to rebalance that bad karma that I made. And I understand that something in my life is going to come along to where I need to get a little bad karma myself. You see what I mean? To kind of replace and balance. I feel it's a balance. Um, So that woke me up quite a bit to the alcohol world, and how easy and how scary it is because it's so accessible.
Do you find yourself like having these subconscious moments at times where you're just like, oh, whoa, okay, that's another indication of, wow, like I've just identified I'm here, even though I feel like I'm stronger within my journey. But
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, yes, and I am a lot stronger than what I used to be, but I'm always going to be allergic to that stuff. It's always going to be. I wish I could say at the back of my mind, but you can't put it there. It won't allow you to put it there. It makes you think about it if you let it. So if I keep busy, like with this station, I'm so busy I barely have time to shower, which is great. This is what I need to stay on that path. This is what I need to, and it's I know it's going from one addiction to another, one might say. Okay, Todd, you're going from an alcoholic to a workaholic. Okay, well, I would rather be a workaholic and safe and helping other people and being happy than being the alcoholic and being in trouble and being in despair and all the time.
I
I
do
take the
think
safe
in
path.
light yes, yes. I think, there's a trade that needs to be made and then tempering however you need. But I do think that the world does need passionate people, and you're a very passionate person. And, in your life, it's come up as, maybe obsession at times. But when you love. And I do think the world needs people who like have that within their personality to take action, like
Mhm,
that fervor where just like I have to go do that. Because I know so many people who struggle with, oh, I don't know what I want to do, or I like it but it doesn't pull me, so you have that naturally within you. When you are excited about something, it takes your whole being. So that's actually like a superpower, I would say, of channeled like in the right ways.
yeah, you can, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's like that a lot. I With things I'm passionate about, um, I do. They're just a part of me, and I fight, and I try as hard as I can to get through the day sometimes. Here we are, here we are, and I love every moment of it. I've learned so much. I've learned, from these shows, I've learned, breathing techniques, I've learned meditation techniques, energy healing, so many things that I was so skeptical to so many years ago. Now I welcome with open arms, because and I think because of my state of mind now, that I'm able to actually accept them, and they actually work for me. It's not that it's a mental thing. I think it's a physical thing because it affects me physically afterward. So
Yeah.
it's spirit led me to all this somehow. I don't, because I'm stubborn as a rock, but it was almost instantaneous. It was crazy how it all
Would you,
snowballed.
with like the snowballing kind of how naturally things are, opening up within your life and where you're led, where has been your biggest like burst of intuition? Was it sobriety? Was it creating the radio station? Was it writing the book?
The book. The book. Um, Building the station was marvelous for me. It was great. It was epic for me. I love doing it. I love constructing, building things. But where I feel the most healing came from is that book and getting that word out, getting that garbage out, getting those dark times out, getting some goodness in, more goodness in, and not only showing other people, but showing myself, okay, Todd, it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be just fine. Just hang in there. You're going to be just fine. And, there's times you got to reassure yourself and tell yourself those kinds of things. And that book made it easier for me to deal with everyday life, period, because all that baggage is gone now. I feel lighter. I feel more focused than I did before that book. I prioritize better. There's just a lot of things. Getting that baggage out, getting that junk out, just helps. It just helps. Damn it.
It's a real thing. I think a lot of us, we just accumulate so much within our life, and energetically things sit, and some of those things, they've never been good for us,
Mhm.
or they just have stayed too long in a certain way, and we're not those people anymore. So it's really powerful, correct? Whether it's speaking it, like, I'm just like inspired by the way, like the feeling you talked about, the feelings of how you feel different after you wrote it. Like when I have a conversation with somebody just on a level where I can say things out loud, I go, wow, I actually feel incredibly different about that situation now. If, the journaling is something, of course, but if you're having like you're putting out a book and you're just like, I'm at peace with it. I know other people are going to like listen to it and understand this and take away from it. Takes an enormous amount of peace to reach that point. Maybe not the perfect amount, but still an enormous amount of healing is cultivated through that. And so you teased at it a little bit, but you mentioned that there's a second book coming, because I could imagine the first one felt good, right?
Yeah. My plan is to have the Haunted Voice trilogy. It's going to have three different books about different chapters of my life, and the station and how it's evolved, and all of that's in there. I've started work on it. It's a lot of fun. It's different because it kind of picks up where we left off a little bit. So it's good. It's good. It's a good transition. Um, and I'm hoping to have that maybe by October, November.
Of this year.
No, no, no,
Wow.
no, no. Next
Oh,
year.
next year.
Yeah.
But still, still,
Yeah.
like 2 books in just like 2 years,
Yeah.
or, the overlap and everything. But wow. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about, everybody. Todd just tinkers and creates and he builds.
For me, I've got to even if I'm making, sometimes I just make images like for Sherry and I'll just make an image, and I have to create something every once in a while, or I just feel like that's my purpose. Does that make sense? I just feel
Yes.
like that's my purpose, is to build and create digitally, of course. You
Well,
don't want me near a hammer, folks. You don't.
this is pretty physical. The book's pretty physical. You got to give you kudos on that.
Yeah, that's pretty physical. But yeah, you don't want me near power tools. I don't.
You've been doing some physical creations. Look at that banner behind you.
True. Touche. Touche. Yeah. But it's
Many
a fun
forms.
ride.
It is. It is. And, you know, like to celebrate it, you know, I think a lot of people, you know, like you were like, oh, like my, you know, the introduction, and that's you, that's your life. You're very intimately acquainted with your life, but it's interesting to hear it kind of like flashback, and then it's interesting to experience it, all the flashbacks when you're getting it out onto paper. It's like what a life, but that should be felt. I would imagine. I would say you've reached a certain pinnacle to feel that while you're living it.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And living life is what I'm about these days. I mean, these days I fear the living more than the dead. These
Yep.
days I'm living life a lot better than what I used to. A lot of things have changed for the good. Family wise, support, you know, of course I've got my beautiful daughters, my 2 daughters, my sister, you know, they're my Sherry, of course, she's always there. But there's, I just want to thank everybody, really, and you, Kelly, for the support. It's been a lot, because I could have been laughed at, I could have been ridiculed, I could have been judged, I could have been tarred and feathered. I don't know, after people have read that book, because you don't know how it's going to react, how people, you just don't know how they're going to react to it. And I've gotten a lot of support, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from it, great feedback. And that's why I'm going to continue writing those. It takes me a little longer because I'm not a writer. I can type, but I'm not a writer. And I do a lot of backspacing and we'll say this. Nah, we'll say this. I do a lot of that, second guessing myself. And I need to stop doing that while I'm writing. What I need to put in, what I put in the first time should be what stays in there. And that's what I'm trying to do with this book. This next one, it's going to be a little longer. It's going to have some more detail, because I had a lot of people say they wanted more detail, and they wanted me to expand the stories a little bit. And I could, but that's all I could at that point. I couldn't write anymore. I was emotionally a mess. I was a basket case. And
It's a lot.
yeah, but it's all over now. It's out there.
Well, yes, but you know, it's like more to come. And right, I do think, like, you know, second guessing ourselves, it's a lifelong journey, because we do it in so many different areas of our life. Like, you know, we're not gonna be like, I have the perfect decision every
Yeah.
step of the way. You know what I
Every
mean?
step.
But you definitely are a writer, you know, so don't second guess that, please.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
It's true.
That means a lot.
It's true. I mean, yeah, you've accomplished so much within your writing already, and you're ready to go even more. So Courtney was talking about, I want to do a book club with Todd. He reads and we ask a question.
Hey,
That would be cool. That'd be fun.
that'd be
If
fun.
Yeah. Seriously, facilitate that. Seriously. Like,
Yeah. Let's work on that, Courtney. That sounds like fun.
and someone said referenced tiny tinsel, but I'm not sure what that is. Do you know what that is?
Tiny tinsel. Did Sherry say it?
She might have. I can't
Okay. If
tell.
she said it, what she's talking about is, I make I made this station Christmas banner one year, and I said, we're going to put some tiny little tinsel on there. I said, just
Oh,
some
it is
tiny
her.
little tinsel.
She's
Yeah.
saying it is her. Okay.
Tiny tinsel on it was, yeah, she's just reflecting back from a Christmas when I made the image, and I called it tiny tinsel. We were putting some tiny tinsel on there. Yeah. Those are just fun memories and moments and things like that I cherish now. The small little things, you know. I used to let
Absolutely.
those slip by, and now I take the time to look. And to me, it makes life easier too. There's not as much stress. There's not as much uh, turmoil going on in my head anymore. So I don't know. All these little, yes, moment to moment, just like Courtney said.
Well, I
And
imagine. Oh, I was gonna say, I would just imagine like you'd kind of have to think like that because you receive so much information every week,
oh yeah,
so that you have to pick. Like maybe you've never had to pick and choose that much, and now it's just like, what do I hold on to?
oh, you're right. Absolutely. Because the last time I did this, I had help. I had a couple interns helping me. This time, I've got Stephanie that does the events. Mike helps a little bit with production when he can off his full-time gig, but mainly, it comes down to me running the shows, me doing the production work and all that. And so and I've got to catalog this in my head. And so my dear friend, neighbor, John, gave me a whiteboard. Try this, he says. Used it ever since. And that's the permanent board, and that's how I transition my mind. I will take the idea, make it digital, then make it real, then put it on that whiteboard, and it doesn't go away until that is completed. And that's the same way I live my life. It doesn't go away until that is completed. Check, check.
And
Every
there's
day,
a
all
lot
day.
of checks every day, all day. There's the short-term checks and the long-term checks. So you let us know that you have another book coming out. Is there anything else that you can share that you're working on too as well?
Well, season 12 of The Ghost Finders is coming out, and I will be narrating that here soon. I'll have my scripts and all that fun stuff. So I've got that project in the works. Now, October of 2024, we're working on the station's first conference. It's going to be in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Metapara Pro Productions is working on that, Danny and Terry. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, Terry said. So I'm just going to go with what he says. And, I sent him some people that I would like to see there and so forth. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. And of course, hopefully you can make it.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Because it's going to be a lot of fun. That's coming up October of 24, not this year, next year.
Next year.
This year's a little much. Next year, yeah. Next year's doable.
It's yeah, no, I would love to be there. I would love to be there. I would actually go up there often. Part of my family used to be in that area.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because, there's such a Midwest connection with WLTK-DB, but there's also like Pete's and Nicole, right? So there's these sprinklings. Do we have people on the East Coast too? I don't know where everyone is. Wow.
We've got one in Arizona now. Yeah, they're spread out just all over. It's amazing. Yeah. I want to get, eventually I want to make the station where I get some international shows on from overseas. I'm working on that. I had one, but something came up and he couldn't do it. I had one. They're tough. They're tough to get them down to that right time slot, because they're 8 hours ahead. It's like, no, you could. And where they could fit, I can't fit them in our schedule. So, it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason.
It's changing. It's evolving. That's really cool, though. It's like to know that you have a national and soon to be international, because, like if you build it, they will come. You just put it out there. So it's going to happen. That's what I think.
You just keep it fun. I like keeping it fun, keeping it free for the most part for all these fine folks out there. I mean, take advantage of it. That's all I can say is take advantage of it, because you're going to learn so much. You will screw up and learn something. I promise you that. By watching these shows.
There's just so much variety. And it's like, that's what I really think. Like, you've you're a builder, you know, if you build it, they will come. And so you're a testament of that. And there's just been so many people that want to share their story because you've provided such an amazing platform. So thank you.
You're
Seriously.
welcome.
Absolutely.
My pleasure. Want to give a book away?
Yeah. Hey, let's do it. Speaking of sharing in the awesomeness of what a platform can do and how it can continue to ripple out. So Todd has a giveaway. I'm going to let you lead that, Todd.
Okay. I just wrote down a number and I'm going to hold it here.
Guide me how you want me to help.
Between 1 and 50, the first person to get closest to my number that I chose here wins a signed copy of The Haunted Voice. We'll make it that easy. Nice. So it's a number between 1 and 50. The one closest to it gets the copy. And it's that simple. And hopefully it helps you as much as it did me. And it's continuing to help me. It's given me a purpose. It's lightened my load. A lot of different things. It can just helps. It just, I don't know. It just, I want it to help more people too, as much as it did me. So
just pop down your numbers.
Oh, make them more broad than that. Do I got to shorten it up?
We got a cluster. We got a number cluster group right now. We need more variety, a spectrum.
All right.
So pop it down, and like Todd's gonna send you the book. And
Joe, wait. She said Joe said 48. My number was 46. That's no joke.
Oh, wait, someone put down 44 too right after. Oh, we have a 27 too. They're coming in. We got more numbers coming in.
Darn delays.
Wait. So we have, so this is the debate. You had a 46. So someone said 48 and 44.
48 and 44.
So they're both two apart. They're both two apart from 46. But so
okay. Oh, that's sweet, Courtney. Okay.
That's really sweet. Okay, there you go. Because one was from Jesse and one was from Joe.
Okay.
That 48 was from Joe.
Was she in the YouTube? I think she knows my email.
She says he's right next to me. LOL. My husband.
Good. Yeah, I think.
We were starting to
send your address to that email address I just put in there, and we'll get you squared away. I'll sign the copy. We'll get it out. Wow.
Nice.
Way to go, Joe.
Congratulations.
Enjoy.
We were starting to get like those numbers being popped down there for a second. But wow, that was close. Yeah, like right around the money. But that's so cool. Like, you know, I've never had a giveaway on here before, and it's just like who's ever meant to have it, you know.
I love every interview I do for the book. I try to give one away. You know, if I can get it out there, and good.
That's the way to do
success. That's all I say.
The more the merrier. The giving continues. With that said, as we start to close the show, where can people find you? Whether, you know, your website or what events you're doing, what's going on with WLTK-DB, where can people find you?
Okay. Well, you can always find me around the station here, of course. If you tune into any of the shows, and if you have any questions whatsoever, put them in the comments. I will see them. The best way to get in touch with me is through my website, toddmichaelbates.com. Right there. There. Mirror.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I can't get the cameras either, guys.
You had it lined up right at the beginning there. Yeah. Now you're over here.
I can't get the mirrored image.
It's endearing. Yeah, I had to figure it out too.
But my website, toddmichaelbates.com, anywhere around the station. My email is toddbates@WLTK-DB.com or toddbates@gmail.com. Make it easier. They all come to the same place. So it's, and there's, like I said, I've got the Ghost Finders coming up. Their new season 12's coming up. I'm excited about that. And with the station, we've got a lot of new shows coming. Next month in June. So this summer is going to be, it's going to be hopping. We're opening up Saturdays as well for some things. They can tune into the producer's show on Sunday at 8 that I do to listen to what's going on with that. I'm going to do one this Sunday and explain that a little bit. That's going to be some fun. But that's the best way to get in touch with me. I'm approachable. So reach out. If you have something to say, you have a question, don't be afraid to reach out. I'll answer you back. It may take me a minute, but I'll answer you back.
No, Todd's really great, so if someone has a question about the work or even like creating their own show and expressing themselves, Todd's the guy to help facilitate that. He's a man of many talents. You'd be surprised how much he can do for your business and help grow your platform if that's what you are looking to do with your next step. So I really like to advocate you for that. Another thing we do as we close as well is to give some type of advice, what you would like to impart and leave the audience with. Really quick, I'm seeing, so Jessica is saying, thank you guys for today's live. I appreciate you. And where was it? She was talking about her husband's happy. Thank you, Todd. She's putting her hands up in the air for,
yes.
He got his book. He won. So he's loving it. And then Courtney was saying, can you pull a card, Todd? Some people pull a card when they do their last piece of final wisdom. So I thought that was kind of fun. That was funny.
They'll pull a card.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a card, but what's your piece of wisdom you would like to leave the audience with?
No matter.
I'm gonna have to buy you a deck.
Let me pull. This is my card.
Yes.
I know things seem bad, no matter what, folks. Really, keep kicking, keep walking toward that light that's at the end of that tunnel. It's a long tunnel. It may be a dark tunnel, but follow the light. Everything's going to be okay. Learn how to breathe and just live. Have fun with life as much as you can, because it's short, very short. It can be gone in an instant. Never miss a moment.
Never miss a moment. It all goes by so fast. It really does. And it's been a pleasure having you on, Todd, and listening to your story. Lightning quick, like I always say when you hear wonderful people talk. Thank you. With that said, everybody, we will see you next week for the Psychic Hour on Wednesday. We're going to be doing a reading show that day. And please go with inspiration as well within what Todd said, with laughter, luck, love, and don't forget to live, everybody. Take care. See you soon.
Bye, everybody.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.